kicking off our shoes, dancing in the living room. No matter where we roam, this is where we call home. Wherever we are, we're free to be. In this place we find serenity, safe and sound. Together we're strong. This is where we belong.
Good morning, Tri-Cities. It's 9 o'clock on Friday, so it's time for Coffee with Karl. I'm Karl Dye from TriDeck, and we have got a great webinar today. It's my pleasure to introduce Terry Marie Fleshman from See3Slam. Good morning, Terry.
Hi there. Good morning.
Thanks for joining us today.
You bet.
First of all, we have to thank our sponsor, Mike Miller at Moon Security. Moon Security is an amazing company with the best customer service out there, serving the Tri-Cities. You can see from the video, they have great home security, business security. If you have any security concerns, make sure you go and talk to Mike and his team in downtown Pasco. So thanks, Mike, for sponsoring Coffee with Karl. Let's get into it, Terry. This is exciting. I've been looking forward to this. I had to wear my Gonzaga shirt just to kind of get in the basketball mood this morning. I'm trying to get in the spirit of it. See3Slam, I've just been here 4 years, and obviously most of those years were during COVID where you guys were shut down. So looking forward to this conversation and learning more about the tournament and how the whole community can support it for such a great cause. But our tradition here on Coffee with Karl is we start off with coffee mugs, or coffee stories. So I'm going to kick us off with my Volpentest hammer.
Oh, wow.
Mug. So Sam Volpentest was a Tri-Cities businessman who in 1963, with the two guys that owned the Tri-City Herald, started what then was known as Tri-City Nuclear Industrial Council, or TRIC-NIC. So 61 years ago, Mr. Volpentest started what now we know as TriDeck. And I just wanted to kick us off that way because Sam Volpentest, all of the founders of our organization, are current funders and founders, as well as board members and investors and members for TriDeck, do that for the best of our community. And so it's our pleasure to talk about the See3Slam as a way that our community can come together and support it, show off our quality of life, which TriDeck has always been about. And so, when we talk about the things we do today with TriDeck, we always have to acknowledge the people that came before us, because literally we stand on their shoulders. The works that we do together today are for a lot of people going back a long ways, working really, really hard on our community that we all enjoy the benefits of today. So I wanted to start off with that shout out to Sam Volpentest and the founder. And the Hammer training and education facility is something that he championed. It's a federal training facility on the Hanford site, right on the border. They are a federal training facility, so people come in from all around the country to do training related to mini missions that align with Hanford cleanup and Hanford security. So that's my mug. Terry, what do you have for us?
Well, I first want to start off that I actually worked with Sam Volpentest. So
Really?
That's how old I am. Years ago, I was out at PNNL, Bill Wiley,
Okay.
all of that crew. And you're right, they are absolute giants, incredible pillars. They had such a vision for this region. And so to have you continue on and make this real is we're so grateful to you and your team and all that participate. And so with that, since I've given away my age, I'm also a grandmother. So I am called Grantee because my first name is Terry. This is, I'm going to share 3 mugs because I don't know if you can see this. These are my first set of grandsons.
Yeah.
And I say all the time, I love you to the moon and back. So that was the first mug that my kids made for me. The next one was when our first granddaughter came along.
Oh.
So this is my granddaughter, McKenna. You can see it says best Grantee. I don't know if you can see the shadow. And then the last and final one is a combination of them all on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I rotate 3 coffee mugs, ice water, coffee, tea, sometimes even some spirited spirits go in these coffee cups.
Sure.
So that's my
Oh,
story
that's
about my
great.
puppies.
That's so awesome. Thanks for sharing that with
You
us.
bet.
So let's get into C3 Slam. Like I said, I've just been here, our family's just been here 4 years, and so I haven't been able to experience it. And a long, long time ago, I lived in Spokane, and so obviously, everybody I think is familiar with Hoop Fest, and you were telling us before on the pre-show, you've got some ties in there. So let's just go into it. Why don't you kind of give us your spiel, and then I know you got some slides that kind of run through that. But before we start off, you talked about yourself, Terry. You used to work at P&L. I think you mentioned before now you're at CBC, but give us your backstory. Like what's the Terry story, and how did
Oh,
you, through your experience, come into this role with C3 Slam?
my background, believe it or not, is the neurosciences and marketing. And
Oh
so
wow,
when I was out at PNNL, I was actually in contracts many, many years ago. I've given my age away. My life has meandered. I've kind of
sure,
followed whatever open door there was. And so I don't have one set career. But more currently, I've been involved with Rotary for almost 25 years. And
okay,
through that process, my background in marketing and event management has put me in the realm of doing a variety of different events regionally, like the Tri-City of the Year, the Ag Hall of Fame. I also owned a talent and modeling agency for years, and so I managed the brides event that was out at what was used to be called the track for almost 20 some years.
yeah,
Uh,
okay,
a variety, I can go on and on, but what happened was in our Rotary Club, we have a gentleman who goes off to Africa every year by his own volition and his own desire to give back to those communities, especially in Ethiopia, to the blind, and it's removing their cataracts. And he
ah,
got involved with an agency out of California, and he partnered with them. And he came to our Rotary Club one day. He was been a member of our club for a long, long time, and said, "I'm heading over to Africa, and I could use some funds with buying some equipment. Could you help me?" Well, that grew into us doing a variety of different fundraisers to help him with his efforts. And what he really wanted to do, his vision was, I go over and I remove, at any given time, maybe, 1,000 to 2,000 cataracts each visit that I make. He said, but if I could teach
wow,
somebody to do what I do, they could do something, they could have a greater impact, right? Why
yeah,
why this region sees so much blindness and cataracts, nobody's really sure. But what you have to understand is that when this individual is blind, they actually take a young child and use that child like a seeing eye dog, who
oh
then walks around with that individual for its lifetime to be its eyes. So when he
wow,
can create those cataract surgeries, you then are giving that individual their eyesight back, but then also giving this young child the ability to go back out and have its life, right? So
wow,
with that, we did a variety of different fundraisers. We did cruises and we did selling raffle tickets. Oh, and I failed to mention that I ran the duck race. You're probably familiar with that
oh
for about
yeah,
5 or 6 years, right?
okay,
So with that, I actually was getting a little frustrated saying, not little, really frustrated saying, okay, we keep going out to the same people, selling the same tickets, trying to help Dr. Guzek. We really need some sort of viable event that we can raise some funds for Dr. Guzek. What could we do? One of our Rotarians came forward and said, this area doesn't have a 3-on-3. And I think I shared with you that I didn't know what that meant.
right,
But once I figured out what it was, I called up Matt Santangelo at Hoop Fest and said, do you think you could take me to school and help me understand
yeah,
how this works? And sure enough, they took us under their wing. Brian Paul, actually, who used to be the general manager of what used to be K-View, sat on their board.
okay,
They became our media sponsor and guided
oh
us
wow,
through. They guided us through as well. And so when we approached the city of Richland in 2015, I'll tell that story really briefly. It
yeah,
was Thanksgiving, November 2015. I had had a friend inside the Parks Department that I used to work with his wife worked with me out at PNNL. Called him up. His name was Dave Bryant. He was the designer of John Dam Plaza, by the way.
oh
Um,
wow,
Called him up and said, we've got a team of people that are interested in doing a 3-on-3. Would the city be interested in helping us? We have no idea how to go about doing it. We think it'd be great if we could put it down G-Way, right? This was the day before Thanksgiving. The following Monday, he called me like that night, the day before Thanksgiving. He said, Terry, can your team meet us on Monday? And sure enough, we met on Monday. Their young crew came in. They were really excited about us doing this with them. And by spring of 2016, we had already sold 20 hoops to be sponsored.
Wow.
And we were up and running the second weekend of July. And we've been running
Yeah.
ever since, except the 2 years we went dark in 2020 and 21.
Okay.
And so the name See3Slam, let me kind of explain that to you. If you look at the logo, I'll kind of pull my shirt up here a little bit around my hat. The reason for the C is because it has to do with vision. It's all about the cards going to Dr. Guzek. If you look closely at the basketball, you'll see that there is an eyeball on the basket.
Yeah.
3 obviously is for the 3 cities, the Tri-Cities, and then slam was just a basketball term. So I know it's a mouthful, but we wanted to be able to give honor to Dr. Guzek and what we were trying to create. We do also, the funds that we raise not only go to our service project in Africa, but also local charities. The lion's share goes for Dr. Guzek and what he does. What we also do, Tri-Q has really come on as a great sponsor. They are out there in the heat for those 2 days on the center court. More importantly, because as the winning champions come through and we award them their t-shirts, remember this tournament is nothing but winning a t-shirt. There's no money, there's no trophies other than the contest, right? As they're winning their t-shirts, Tri-Q and Dr. Guzek are right there to shake each of the winners' hands. And then we explain the story as to why we are doing this fundraiser and to remind them that each of those individuals just gave sight to at least 4 people by virtue of their entry fee. Because of our sponsors coming on board and paying for all the operations, we can proudly say that the registration fees go directly to the beneficiary. So these young children, they're listening intently to the story and they're going, what? Right? We just gave blind their sight back. I said, because sometimes we tell the kids, I want you to go try and shoot a hoop with your eyes closed and see what it feels like. And they'll go do that. In fact, that's one of our little contests that we do, right? To kind of help them get in touch with the impact. Yeah, they're out there having a lot of fun, but the impact is huge. It is a charity that they are supporting. So that's a story.
No, I appreciate that. That's and especially with the young people that are like the guides for the people that have cataracts. I think that in economic development we talk about a multiplier factor. So if there's, like, say, a manufacturing job, one job will create sometimes up to 4 to 7 jobs in the community in other areas, and it's kind of similar in this case, right? Like you remove someone's cataract so that they can see, and it frees up someone else. And I think that it's hard to understand third world countries and what poverty in that case looks like, but just the difference in the course of a young person's life is huge, right? The things that young person can do and access to other things it is amazing. So I think that story is great. Thanks for sharing it with us.
It really is a rewarding experience. It's hotter than Wiggins, right? When we're out there and it's team after team after team, but like I said, Dr. Guzek's out there shaking everybody's hands.
Yeah.
He's out there scorekeeping. He is walking this. I mean, he is very, very active. It's unfortunate he couldn't join us this morning.
Yeah.
He broke his arm for the audience's sake. He was supposed to join us to help tell his story. He broke his arm yesterday, so he's in surgery as we speak.
Oh.
So it's unfortunate. So perhaps another time we might bring him back.
Definitely. I think we wish him a speedy recovery. Sorry for his accident, breaking his arm. But Terry, thanks for making the time to join us today.
You bet.
So you kind of given us the backstory. Maybe we should just go into the slideshow and you can kind of give that overview. And then I do my best to take notes as you're going through it. And then I know that I'll have some good questions for you. We can get into a dialogue if that's okay.
Fair enough. And you can stop me at any point. You want me to stop something, you got a question about something? Let's just Sometimes it's more valuable to do it right in the moment, right?
You
All right, let's see
bet.
if we can
Yep.
get things working here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Technical, hang on here.
You're okay.
There we go. Yes, up and running.
Perfect. Yep.
All right,
Yep.
so our typical little opening slide. I think I'm going to go right into a quick little video clip that tells the story. This, of course, this is a poster that we make every year. And I think
Yeah.
we're going to start doing, I'll show you the new one for this year at the very end. But I think we're going to
Yeah.
start the way to each team as they come in to check in. It'd be a new amenity to give them. All right,
Yeah,
here,
we'll have to jump in because I'm
go ahead.
sorry in that first picture that you couldn't have got somebody with a different college t-shirt on than that Boise State t-shirt. But that's okay. I'll let that go.
All right. Well,
Um,
we'll show you what 2024
sorry.
looks like, and maybe you'll be happier with it.
Okay. Okay, we'll see. Thank you.
I just love these are actual players. I just love the intensity of
No,
their.
the pictures are great, and
Yeah.
I'm just making a joke about it.
That's
Old
all right.
rivalries die hard. Yeah.
You can dig all you want. All right, here we go. This will give you a little bit of an overview of what this event looks like every year. Here we go.
Okay.
There's Dr. Guzek. Gives you a quick little overview of what what the event looks like. We bring in about 3,500 to 4,000 people easily every year that come through on that weekend. We've been averaging between 220, 270 some teams. I am hopeful to be on a trajectory to hit 300 this year if possible. What you see on this slide is literally some pictures that gives you a brief overview of what I explained as to what the project is all about and why we do what we do. Dr. Guzek, since he started, has done about 25,000 cataract surgeries. Right,
Wow.
that's huge. About 25,000 people now can see. That is a lot of eyeballs, right? It's amazing. And we have for many years have taken, many of our Rotarians have gone with him over to Ethiopia because of the political unrest. We were going into Ethiopia as well as Sudan, but obviously now things have gotten really unsettled. And so none of the Rotarians have been going in, but Dr. Guzek has gone in himself in the midst, risking his life to be able to give surgeries to these individuals. The doctors that he has trained, a couple of the doctors actually have been taken into captivity as prisoners because they will be receiving money or equipment and they think it's for illicit reasons or it's been done. Sure. And so they get thrown into a prison. It's been some wild stories about trying to do good, but yet what is going on behind the scenes. So that's who we are. This is our typical save the date card. You're going to see dates from last year, only because I'm using a presentation that I used last year. This kind of gives you a brief overview. You can see where the tournament takes place. Here is John Dam Plaza. We block off traffic everywhere you see these red barricades. That's where George Washington Way gets blocked off. We bring in some large Coke trucks. We have a partner with Coca-Cola. They bring in their huge semi trucks to be able to block the street. We are hoping, we did this in 2019 because of our numbers. Our numbers went down after COVID, and so we didn't need to extend all the way down to Lee Boulevard. But I believe we might be extending to Lee Boulevard this
Wow.
year. So you'll see, we will have barricades here, and then we'll have barricades here again at the end of Knight Street, and then down here by Lee Boulevard. We'll be bringing in either more Coke trucks, or Custom Restoration has come on board as a new sponsor and is really interested in bringing in their trucks. So they are on standby if we need them to. So you got to understand that this is a huge logistical process where we're working with Richland Traffic Control. We currently have 2 or 3 different traffic plans ready to go, depending on what our registration numbers are, because we never know, right? It's the last minute. I was talking to our media people this morning about the very fact that we have an extra week this year between the holiday and when our tournament goes. And sometimes we bring in about an extra 50 teams. When people come back from the 4th of July, they go, oh, is it still can I still register? And so, we have seen that with those extra days, extra teams come in, but you have to realize I've got to have media ready to go. We got to have a traffic plan ready to go, depending what goes on. We have enough hoops, purchased hoops that are sponsored by individual local sponsors to create up to 26 courts from the end of G-Way at Newton, where Sterling's is, all the way to the corner of Lee Boulevard, where you see the dugout, and Greenies is on the corner. So that's what we're thinking of doing. What we did last year, because the numbers weren't quite large enough, we were too big to just run down this section. We ran into the parking lot. So we set up this parking lot behind John Dam Plaza. So we were able to put 6 hoops there. And so that helps us. So it gives us that little buffer if we need. So it's a last minute planning process. So you got to be ready to go. And you're going to see some slides later on, literally seeing our Richland crew and our Rotarians getting things ready. This gives you an eyeball view of how the courts are literally set up, right? So here's your Coke trucks at either end of G-Way. Here's our variety of courts. We had 20 courts last year. And then we put hoops, the extra hoops that we had went down here into that brick area. So this became a practice area for the players to go and just shoot hoops and play. All of our vendors kind of wrap around through in front of the stage area, as well as along the street. We have to keep this area clear for emergency vehicles. That's why you see this area here. Score Central is right here in the shade, where people walk over to see, where they are seen on the brackets and so on. Sunbelt Rental, this is a great we call this our human car wash. Sunbelt Rental brings in all their equipment and swamp fans and water and all kinds of things. It creates like a car wash, so to speak, for people to walk through and cool off. That's cool. Especially, we're watching with our climate change. It might be saying 95 degrees, but it's 110 on that asphalt. It's hot.
Sure.
It's hot. And then Coca-Cola is our huge sponsor, who brings in plenty of water, no charge, for us to be able to distribute.
That's great.
It's awesome. Wow. Yeah, it's important. And of course, our medical team. Our medical team is right here, right close to center court. We have had actual, Catholic did it one year, Physicians Immediate Care did it one year. We had Total Care Clinic did it one year. The last couple of years, we've done it ourselves we realized we had our own medical team right within our own Rotarians. And so we've been being able to do that. And then the nursing department from CBC has also been helpful to us. So we have a lot of key stakeholders and community partners that come forward. Broadmoor RV brings in 2 of their RVs. One we use for Score Central. So our team is inside an air-conditioned unit that is taking the information and putting it immediately onto social media so that people can see it right on their phones as to what the ratings are and the brackets and where they need to play next. So that's all immediate. And then we also have another air-conditioned RV that's brought in by Broadmoor that we use for our medical tent. So there's always an
Okay.
air-conditioned spot for anybody who might be injured or needs to get in and out of the heat. For the
Wow.
years, I'm going to knock on wood here. For the years that we've been doing this, we have had nothing but minor scrapes and falls and some small burns.
Sure.
People getting heat, overheated or sunscreen needed, right? We had one incident where somebody broke their ankle, but it wasn't a player, it wasn't anybody related to the event. It was even before the event
Oh.
started. They were cutting
Oh,
through the
wow.
parking lot and fell,
Oh.
and we had to
Oh.
bring the ambulance in for them. Last year, and this is kind of an interesting thing I want to share just because I'm thinking about it. One of the things you have to realize is we've got to be really careful as we watch as the teams register their teams. We have to watch the names that they use. You can't use anything that's vulgar, obviously, or anything that could be insensitive to somebody.
Sure.
Last year we missed one, and we had
Oh.
a team that was called active shooters.
Oh.
Oddly enough, Karl, as luck would have it, we had to announce, you got to think about, our sound system that we bring in, right? Those people are geniuses because they are
Yeah.
bringing in speakers and all kinds of things that's going to run all along the court and into the park, and everything has to be working properly because announcements are being made constantly, right? We are also
Sure.
timing everybody at the same time. We had to make an announcement that they had a court change. And so we
Oh.
had to say live shooter or active shooter,
Yeah.
court 22 or court 17 or whatever. On the PA system, we announced this, and oh my God, Karl, everybody stopped. Heads went
Oh my
down,
gosh.
they
Yeah.
froze
Yeah.
because of our climate, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't even think about it when we said it. And
Yeah.
so now we are watching. We have to be very careful about the names that are being used and the sensitivity
Right.
related to that. So there's a lot of details that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did have one gentleman last year that did have hadn't eaten properly, was out of water, and he fell, he just dropped on the court. And so we
Oh.
called the ambulances and we said, could you please, when you come, we're going to guide you through, but please don't turn on your sirens. Come in quietly. We'll guide you in, because when you have masses of people like that, it just completely throws off everything.
Sure.
Right? So there's a lot to be said about the team of people we have in the background that are managing all of this, not to mention our refs and our security.
Yeah.
One of the things that we deal a lot with, Karl, is personalities and people's moods and tempers.
Yeah.
You got to remember this is a game, right? We're not out there for
Yeah.
the NBA title. And it's a really interesting to watch what goes on. So we're always watching and helping people to stay cool, calm, and collected. So that
That's
kind
good.
of gives you an overview of, what we do. We stop everything at 6 o'clock on Friday. Everything transforms into a hoop fest, so to speak. And by 6 o'clock on Sunday, everything is cleared out. And you're going to see some video clips down the road here about what that looks like.
Okay.
This kind of gives you an idea of who our sponsors are. We have had some loyal sponsors. We got a new one this year, like I said, is Custom Restoration. Cap K-View now is called Apple Valley News Now, obviously. And so we have some new sponsors coming on board. We redesign the shirt every year. A new design comes in. And so this is what we were working with last year. People loved this last year. We had sleeveless, which is unusual. You don't normally see that. And a lot of neon. So it's a lot of bright colors. This gives you an idea. This is a handout that we give at registration. So everybody knows what court is located where, and the back side tells you the sequence of events that are happening. I will tell you that when we first started off, we used to hand out little backpacks, and we filled it with lots of goodies and lots of paper and coupons for the sponsors, and it got strewn all over the streets. So we have learned that the players are interested only in getting my shirt at registration, give me a bottle of water, and tell me where I have to be. Done. That's it. So we've
Right.
really
There you
limited
go.
back what we are
Yeah.
handling, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Makes sense. This is, again, this was from last year. Obviously, this year it's the 13th and 14th. You'll see some of the new stuff. But this is all of our digital media. This is what goes out on our Facebook and so on. Some analytics, if you're interested, I'll kind of breeze through this.
Yeah.
If you're interested, this kind of shows you what our registration looks like. We run registration through the month of June. We open up, we used to, years ago when we first started, we started back in April. And we found but again, we had to get people to know who we were. Now we've
Sure.
learned we just make it in 1 month, 30 days. And everybody kind of runs on the very last days of each of those registration rates. When I
Okay.
look around the region at the different types of hoop fests, if you will, that are being sponsored in Walla Walla, Moses Lake, Yakima, Spokane, obviously, Portland, Seattle, the different areas that put on their events, they normally have set registration rates for different categories. So if you are a youth, your rate's going to be X amount. If you're going to be an elite player, you're going to pay X amount. We took a different tactic. We said everybody's going to pay the same rate. We're just going to change that rate 3 times throughout the registration process, but everybody pays the same amount. It was easier for me to manage. I think it was easier for people to remember. It was less confusing. So we run an early bird registration for the first 3 days when we open up registration. It's called $100 See3Slam special. It's $100. I don't care what age group, what team you are. So you can see that brings in a lying share of obviously we don't make as much money, but it also gives us a clue to prepare. It helps our t-shirt people to get things started. So it gives us some better management of the event because we know ahead of time what we might be looking at, right? We then changed to what we call our standard registration, the 4th of June to the 24th of June, and that runs at 145. I'm sorry, 140 plus everything is tacked on with a convenience fee of $5. Everybody's running with a credit card. We've got to cover those fees. So now this runs at 140. And then our gray, oddly enough, people come in at that late registration of 165, obviously 170 with a convenience fee. That equals pretty much what we're seeing at the early bird rate. Okay. These numbers tend to stay consistent. And I have to say this late registration, these people are coming in right at the wire, right before midnight, trying to get in. It's just the human condition. Doesn't matter how much you plan, we're going to see them coming in as you see. So that's how that works. I want to emphasize, I think I said this earlier, that a $50 pays for cataract surgery. So you guys can do the math, right? If it's $100 fee, you've just given 2 people freedom. And then so on and so forth. $3 and $4. 4 people are getting their eyesight back. Here's some statistics. I can kind of glaze over it a little bit. I think the biggest thing is to recognize the number of volunteer hours that we're seeing throughout that time frame. It's huge. We're running about 100 to 150 volunteers coming through. The number of sponsors and partners that we have is upwards of 40 to almost 50. We do run some contests on Center Court where sponsors are giving away $1,000. This just is hot off the press as of the last day or two. Custom Restoration has asked to manage that $100 cool cash giveaway, and Tri-Q is going to manage the kids. So that's just brand new, just came in off the press. Look at the value of in-kind contributions that are given to us. A lying share of this, by the way, is the city of Richland. The city of Richland, when they figure out the salaries and the amount of time that they're given, it's about a 30,000 contribution that they're giving to us. It's huge, right? Here's a story about our teams, right? And like I said, the very first year we started in 2016, we had 168 teams. Our highest number we had in 2019 hit the 275 mark. We went backwards when COVID hit. We came back in 2022 with maybe, I think it was around 220, 215 teams, 230 last year. So we're on the rise. I am hoping to hit 300. This year, the dates hit the same as 2019, which was the exact
Okay.
same dates that saw our largest numbers coming in. So it's possible that we might see that 300 mark. We average about 1,000 players, if you do the math. And
Right.
here's, you know, that number really, when I did the numbers last year, we were closer to the 50,000 mark in the
Wow.
dollars that we earned. A
Wow.
lot of it, again, you know, it takes quite a bit of money to get this thing off the ground. And that's
Sure.
our team registrations. And of course, this is the money that goes directly into Dr. Guzek and local charities.
Yeah.
So,
On the, just really quick, Terry, on the center court contests, what are those? I know like at Hoop Fest, they have slam dunk contests and stuff. I mean, what are the center court contests here?
so what we have done, we used to do a car. We used to do a car giveaway. And we
Oh.
found that, and we found that the car really wasn't a money generator. And oftentimes the person that won the car didn't even want the car, right? They ended up giving it back, or it was like a tax issue. And so we learned that cash was better. So the type of contest for that particular contest, it's kind of an interesting, it's kind of a round robin. You have to make so many baskets in a certain number of like a minute, so to speak. And if you make those number of baskets, then you make it to the next round. And so, and then you're shooting in the 3-point zone, right? I'm not a technical person. Like I just put the event out. I don't know what basketball is, but that's pretty much what that one's all about. And then throughout the day, there's a number of different contests that the MC will run. He'll bring the moms out to shoot for something, right? They'll have to shoot blindfolded. They have to shoot from different spots on the court. They will have kids come out for different things. So there's a variety of different fun shoots that they do. And then we also run this contest for the kids where they do a similar kind of a thing where they have to shoot, how many baskets can you shoot inside of a minute? And then it's a round robin, and then it's a process of elimination.
Okay, so all kind of basketball skills contests for different groups and stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. It's nothing.
Just out of curiosity, because I'm way past, any basketball days for myself, but if they had any like 55 plus arthritic old man contests, like just saying,
we do.
Keep it in
they
mind.
come out. We have a grandma, right? So they call the grandmas out. They call the grandpas out. If you're over a certain age, we do certain things. For a couple of years, we had a wheelchair as well. We had wheelchair basketball, where we would bring the Special Olympics team out, because I know Spokane did it, so we brought them out. The last few years, it's been a little difficulty with transportation. So we'll be working on trying to bring that team back out. It's really fun to watch.
That's really cool.
Really something.
Yeah.
So that was also a contest too. We had Jimmy John's used to do an eating contest. You had to make a basket and then go eat, and then go back and make a basket and then go eat. So it was, gimmicky stuff. Lots of fun little things that were going on.
That's fun though. Yeah.
So, and you don't have to be a player to contest. You can be anybody from the crowd can come out. Any spectator can come out and do it. And that's true.
That's fun.
That's also true for the $1,000. You don't have to be a player. We do at registration, we do give a voucher because you have to pay to get into the contest. Okay. So we do give a voucher, a free one pass at each, as teams are checking in, we give them a voucher for one player to get into the contest. So it's a free $5 pass, so to speak. And that's kind of a fun little gig that we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stats. Let's keep going here, right? All right. Some more information about returning teams versus new teams. So you can see what we did. It's pretty static. Okay.
So the new is blue?
The new is blue. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is returning. So about 50-50, you see?
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with timing for some people. Some are on vacation. There's a lot going on. We lose a lot of our high school students because there's a lot of stuff going on at the end. I don't know what it's called, but they're going into Vegas for some reason. Something's going on in Vegas at that time frame. So we lose a lot of our high school students. Local versus out of town. Okay, so people that we're bringing in. So it's usually average 25% are coming in from out of town. And what I'm really liking more recently is that this out of town is also, because this is based on a 100-mile radius. Okay, we factor 100-mile radius as our out of town.
Okay.
So starting to see more people coming in from places like Spokane and Boise and Portland and Seattle. We had people from Canada coming in, Montana. So it's good. It's getting its name out there slowly.
Yeah.
Here gives you kind of gives you a read for the very different cities that we're seeing.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Here's our gender. I don't know if that's legal anymore to do, but I thought I'd put it out there. Okay, so this represents our male and our female. Okay.
And mainly, it looks like, competitive versus rec in the adults, I see.
That's right. So this is your blue is your rec, your competitive is your orange. Here, this is your male players is in the blue. In the orange are your female players, and the gray are co-ed. Men and women, boys and girls. Okay.
Yep.
Here's your youth divisions. I always love to see this. Okay. Look, 50%, is grades 1 through 8. So it's very much a family-oriented event. Right.
Oh, that's great. And I think your video highlighted that really well. It was great to see the little kids.
You can see that, and they're loving it, right? Got to make sure we keep the parents and everybody on your toe. Okay.
Yeah.
This was always interesting to me in terms of how this event grew and how did people hear about it. Look at this, word of mouth. Word of mouth. Returning teams, okay? And then, of course, internet and social media was next. We used to do some partnership with Hoop Fest. Where we would get all of our info. We had a hoop out there. We would get all of our materials into their distribution bags at check-in. With Matt Tansangelo leaving and the new administration coming in, those amenities, those sponsorships didn't look the same anymore. And we just decided it probably isn't as valuable as some other way to spend our money. Okay.
Yeah.
I just think this was, that word of mouth was huge.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's positive, right?
That's right.
This is beyond me, I'll be honest. This talks about what our social media looks like. Those of you that are social media whizzes, this will make more sense to you in terms of what this looks like. But I just thought I'd share that with you. And
that's great.
I just found out this morning, so I don't want people going to our Facebook page just yet. I just found out this morning that there's a glitch, something isn't right, and it's down. So we'll get that fixed, before the weekend, and we'll make sure things are up and running. This is the formulation that the Tri-Visitor Bureau helps me with. Again, I don't understand how that calculation works, but there's the numbers and what this all means.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a special tribute to our streets crew. Kind of gives you an idea of what this looks like. Let me play these little videos. This will show you how we shut the street down. It's kind of fun to watch.
Okay.
This is at 6 o'clock on Friday. You can tell we do make people angry, unfortunately.
Sure.
Because they're, it's
well, if you're the car that came up to the light like at 5:59, you're probably going, hey.
I want to go through and I can't, right?
Yeah.
And so let's see. Let's go to the next one. This kind of gives you an idea of how they get some of these. This is a situation you can see where they're stored. Our hoops are stored, by the way, in the Richland warehouse.
Oh, cool.
They get a really nice treatment. So that comes in on a huge trailer, they set them all up, and then they get stored in the warehouse. And they clean them, and they take really good care of them. Here, this shows you, this is in midstream. In the middle of the event, we realized that one of the hoops was not the right height, and it needed to be adjusted. Yeah, and, because there's certain, 4th grade and under, I believe, plays with an 8-foot hoop, and everything above
Right.
the 10-foot hoop, right? And we realized that one of the hoops on the courts was not the right height. And so they're adjusting this as we speak. You've got the Richland crew, that's the Richland guy right there. You've got one of our reps. You've got a player in there helping, and some of our security, right? We got to get this fixed because the game's going to start.
Why are you shaking, bro?
Kind of give you a good sense of the teamwork that goes on. So what's happening right now is that they're bringing it down. The guy's finger got stuck. He really got a gash in his finger.
We know where the fifth hole is. I got 1, 3, 4, 5 right here.
All right.
Got it? Yep.
So there's that. Give you an idea.
Wow.
Right there.
And the Richland crew, along with our Rotarians, they are walking the grounds to make sure everything is running. We have security that's walking. We have a
Hey, you know you're alive now.
detail that walks through. Our Rotarians are walking through to make sure all the trash is picked up. That place is spotless.
So when,
Again.
on the hoops, like, did you guys have to make, when you first started the tournament, you probably had to make an initial investment in that equipment?
Uh-huh.
And
So
then since then, do you just store them and, like you say, you maintain them and you clean them and everything? But it's probably a pretty big investment initially, I suppose, right?
and what we did was a gentleman, a friend of mine, he's since has passed. His name was Don Mix. He and I hit the streets finding sponsorships, mostly him. He went out, made the initial calls, and then I was brought in to do the kill, so to speak.
Yeah.
He went out and found sponsors for each and every one of those 26 hoops that we have.
Wow.
Right. And so the way that this works, Karl, is, yeah, we had to make that initial investment, but each person, each sponsor came on and paid for them. And of course, their name is on them. So consequently, every year, without fail, I get a request from 2 or 3 different groups around the region wanting to borrow our hoops. And I can't.
Oh.
For a couple of reasons. One is liability. The other is each of those hoops is sponsored by someone.
Sure.
And it's not appropriate. I mean, who's going to go out and how are you going to, these are heavy and they're difficult. So they don't go out to other groups to be used for that reason. And then we run this in a 3-year term. So you sponsor your hoop for 3 years. And the reason for that was there's a lot of effort that's going in to get all that branding. So you not only own the hoop, you're going to see, you saw the pictures. Not only do you own the hoop, but you own the tent, the scorekeeper tent, and the banner that goes over the table. Okay. And so you own that equipment for 3 years. After that 3-year term, I come back to you and ask if you like to, you have a first right of refusal to continue on for another 3-year term, or would you like to decline? And then we'll go out and find another sponsor. So far, we've had full recovery. I haven't had to replace anything.
That's great.
So we are coming up to another 3-year term. I'm putting that request out. It'll be coming out this year for the next 3 years, 25, 26, 27, and we'll see what comes back. Yeah. And so these are the same hoops, by the way, that are built by the same it's a guy that works out of his house in Lebanon, Indiana. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. Okay.
That's great.
Again, so this is our Stan Johnson from the city of Richland. He does all the brackets. He creates the brackets, and then we manage those brackets, make sure everybody was in the right spot. Kind of gives you an idea of the different feel. There's some pictures. Here's our shirts at registration. This is my daughter, one of my daughters. Actually, those are both of my daughters. This is a family events. These are both of my daughters that are help at Sports Central. This is Megan from Legacy Jitsusu. She manages all the scoring. This is where you can see that the score sheets are put up, or the brackets are put up for people that can go to. Plus, it's on your phone. And then, of course, this is what registration check-in looks like. It's on Jan Dam Plaza. Okay, and people just come through a lot of room. Makes for a really easy way to move people through the system.
Yeah. There
you go. There's our men in blue giving us and our first responders. This is the gentleman that I told you about that heat exhaustion, right? And this is the crew that came in quietly. Okay.
It's great.
That's been, like I said, we've had 2 incidents that we've had to bring an ambulance in. One was not at all
Okay.
related to us. The other was heat exhaust. Here's our
Mm.
partners. This is an example of the gentleman that won the $1,000 in the shootout. We also give to each of the players a challenge coin. So they get a challenge coin that has the year on it, because they won. And then each of our referees uses a challenge coin as well to, you have to flip the coin right as you get started.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Again, some of our sponsors. This is all giveaway stuff. You know, people were coming by to give away stuff, help people stay hydrated. This is that Sunbelt area, right? So this goes down. You have several, you can't see it, but you have several of these going down in a row.
Yeah.
That people just walk through.
Okay.
Okay. To stay cool.
Yeah.
Let me talk a little bit about, I don't know if you know who Greg Mitchell is, right? You know, the CJ Mitchell, Cameron Mitchell was the judge. There's a whole Mitchell family that has impact here in the Tri-Cities. Greg Mitchell is one of our, has started a sports officials academy. He started this about 3 or 4 years ago. And he has made an incredible impact. So he works mostly with high school students. He has actually been able to be successful in getting some of the school districts to incorporate the training of officials as part of their program at school. So that these young students, so that these young students can walk away with an official, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, soccer, because as you probably are aware, you know, we have a shortage of referees, right? We have a shortage of officials. And so this is a great way for young people to be able to earn some funds, because usually the games are after school and they pay really well. And it's something that you can go on and do for a lifetime if you want. Look what some of these referees are, you know, these professional referees, look at the amount of money those guys are, right? So he started the academy, and he is a huge partner in our program. I depend heavily on Greg. Granted, I'm the director of the event. I oversee the logistics, the operations, making sure everything's getting done. But I would be at a loss if we didn't have Greg and the other gentleman, Eric Smith, who's one of our Rotarians. Greg runs the tournament play, the rules, you know, when issues are happening, he's a calming force. He is the person that we go to when there's any type of a altercation, an issue, a question, and the quality of the event. I mean, one of the things in my mind for this event to be successful is the quality of the tournament play, which hence levels dependently, it hedges dependently on the referees, right? And the quality of that play, how the rules are being bored out, the organization. And so if I don't have that, we don't have anything. And he is key. He has been key to the success of the event. So here you can see this little picture here is us actually meeting with the CBC volleyball team. They came out a few years back. Some of them served as referees, some of them served as court monitors, some of them served as volunteers, scorekeepers. And this picture off to the right is him actually giving training at the Boys and Girls Club. Okay. So we partner with them as well. We have a lot of local, regional partners. Here's our officials. Gives you some everybody. And Dutch Brothers. Dutch Bro is our sponsor. They come back every year. Their sponsorship pays for these referees to be out there. We would be lost without them. Yeah. So these referees, this isn't volunteer. They're getting paid. They also get fed. Obviously it's a nominal fee, but they're out there because they love it. And you have to have plenty of them, because if you're filling 24 upwards courts and giving people rotations, it's 30 plus, 36 plus referees that you need to have rotating through. All right. This is highlights from last year. Seeing if there's anything in there that I haven't already talked about. You know, our reputation on its rules and consistent officiating, that's very key, like I said earlier.
Sure.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, we have the ability to monitor behavior. That's very, very key.
Yeah. Yep.
Unfortunate, but it's key.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in there that I didn't already tell you. It's all
Okay.
there. Let's see. That's the thank you banner. Oh, closing story. Let's play
Yeah.
this. I think you might
Okay.
enjoy this.
An eventful and hot weekend in Richland with the 6th annual See3Slam basketball tournament. A local eye doctor, Jim Guzek, heads to Ethiopia every year to perform cataract surgery and restore vision for people with blindness. Playing 3 games in a short amount of time in the heat, many of those basketball players were talking about the weather conditions. Brothers Dylan and Andrew Strait were 2 of the members of the winning men's 35 and older team, rightfully named Already Sore. They played against the team Fat Dinosaurs. Dylan and Andrew say while it was a very hot weekend, it was also a very well organized event.
We were commenting last night. We think it's very well run. Appreciate the organization of it. It's well done.
And despite the heat, I would say very good turnout. Seems like a lot of people not only playing but watching as well. So lots of fun.
It was the brothers' first time playing at the See3Slam, and they say they'll be back next year to defend their title. There was a very exciting bracket taking place on center court this weekend. According to the event director, good basketball playing and good referees make for a quality event. She says she needs some good referees to come out and help for next year as well.
There you have it.
That's great.
That shows you one of your brackets, what it looks like at the end of the day.
Yep.
That's it.
Wow.
I think I just.
Terry, this has been great.
I think I took up all your time.
No, it's perfect. Because I think you covered everything that you guys do. And I think just maybe to wrap us up, if somebody's interested in supporting or obviously signing up with their team, can you give us that website again? And what's the best way? I mean, are there any other sponsorship opportunities at this time, or are you guys full on sponsors? Or
I can always use assistance. There's no doubt. I'll
Okay.
tell you what I am looking for ideally would be
Yeah.
a sponsor for our volunteer shirts. Okay.
Okay.
What we do is we have our volunteers are walking around, and what's neat about the volunteer shirts is those people and the staff event shirts, they wear their shirts year round. And so they're around town all the time. You see them. And so we used to put all the logos on the back. And then I learned that if I just put one sponsor on the back, it made for a great sponsorship. And so I would love to find a sponsor for the volunteer shirts. Okay. So in order to get, so you can easily go to the website. It's just see3slam.com. That's it.
Okay.
Or you can contact me, and it's just Terry at See3Slam, Terry with a Y.
Yep.
Okay.
At See3Slam. Perfect.
Right.
Well, Terry, this has been, I mean, I really, like I said, because I'm relatively new and 2 years of those for COVID, just didn't have any awareness of your event. And this is incredible. And especially how you're helping those folks in Ethiopia and potentially parts of Sudan, life-changing literally for them. And really, I think as Rotarians to fulfill the Rotarian mission, right? Which is always a good cause and raising the awareness. But thank you so much for your time today. Sorry we couldn't get Dr. Guzek on. We'll have him on, next time, but best of luck in it's not luck, but hope you guys have a great event. It's coming right up, and make sure that people get signed up. And if you are interested in the volunteer shirt sponsor, make sure you get a hold of Terry. So Terry, thanks for your time today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see everybody else again on Coffee with Karl. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, TC Sunrise Rotary, right? That's who we are. Thank you.
There you go.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Terry.
Take good care.
Bye.
Bye.